Hello and welcome to the Broke But Not Broken podcast. This is episode Z, and we have reached the final episode in what I like to call season one. It's been a while to get to this point, and not just from the previous episode, but just overall since we started episode A. But we're here now, and honestly, like many other episodes, I did not want to record right now, but I had a little bit of spark from being at 2 a.m. and I'm feeling that aliveness that I feel at night more than I feel during the day. And I told myself, you know what, let me just get this over with. There's no point in stalling because this is not the end. It's just a door that I'm closing, right? So I can start season two. The plan is hopefully I keep this mood up. But seriously, season two is going to be a lot different. Well, not really. It's going to be slightly different, but all in positive ways, in my opinion, at least productivity wise. More on that later. Let's just wrap up the new year. Even though it's been how long, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since episode Y. I kind of forgot what I talked about. Let me quickly scroll back and see. My student teacher experience, 21 pilots. Okay, yeah. I wasn't happy with that episode according to the description. Anyways, let me just jump into it. Okay, I gave you guys time to watch the Evangelion Rebuild movies, the anime Rebuild. I said I'd talk about spoiler talk in a future episode. This is the future episode now. So what I liked about the Evangelion movies is that if you don't know, basically in the original series, the main character Shinji, he's really depressed, and basically throughout the whole show, he suffers a lot. He loses everything, everybody around him. The whole world basically just goes to destruction. Right? It's a sad ending for Shinji overall. So in the Rebuild movies, let me backtrack. So the idea was that Shinji was a kind of a reflection of the creator, Hideki Anno. His like depression is kind of like embedded in Shinji, the main character. So what I liked in the Rebuild movies, for the most part, the series was re-encapsulated in 4 Rebuild movies. The first 2 movies pretty much followed the original story to the point. But then the last 2 movies is kind of where things started changing. So one thing that the Rebuild did is that they introduced a new character that was not in the original anime. And the idea for this, which I don't know if it's official or not, but I liked it and I want to believe in it, is that Anno, he introduced this new character of Mary, right, to help pull Shinji out of like the depression, out of the sadness, right? So he created a new character for the purpose of pulling Shinji out. And at the end of the movies, the ending is much more happier for Shinji. He kind of saves the world more or less, and like resets everything back. And sure, the other characters, we don't know if they were made up or if they were memory lost so that Shinji wouldn't have to remember them. But then we see at the end that Mary is the character that they added is the one who pulls him up and waits for him at the end of the movie. And then the ending scene is really cool because they're in a train station. Again, this is an anime, right? So everything's animated. They're in a train station and they run out of the train station together. And the transition from when they're exiting the train station, it turns into the real life. It's the real life of that same station. Which I guess is symbolism. I guess another theory, which is kind of like saying, just live your life, out there, right? I explained that terribly, but I just liked the idea that he created a character that was not in the original media for the sake of having a happier ending, which is what he wanted, right? And I think that's really cool. artistic choice that Ano made there. So again, I recommend checking out the Evangelion movies. I didn't really spoil anything. I kind of talked about the ending, which is just a small piece of the entire movie. Especially if you never watched the anime, it's okay. Just watch the 4 Rebuild movies. Although it will be a bit confusing, but the original anime was also confusing. So last year, 2022 January, I moved to Upper New York so I can be closer to my student teaching school in the Bronx. Again, I'm in New York. If anyone doesn't know what I'm referencing, and there I roomed with 4 roommates, 4 people I didn't really know, and honestly, I had a pretty good time. Like, not like anything amazing. It's just like it was a good. I think it was a good experience compared to what I've heard about other people living with roommates. For the most part, all my roommates pretty much worked, like all the time. So I was kind of the one who was home the most. And from that experience, anything I want to share? Well, I think I for sure would do the roommates thing in the future if I needed to. I think it's a really good money saver. What else? So our rooms we had I shared my bathroom with one other person. And that was an okay experience. I mean, like, sharing the kitchen, living room was fine. I was not a fan of sharing the bathroom. There's no crazy stories or anything. It's just like sometimes, like, I feel like I would be cleaning more than the other person, and just like it's just kind of annoying to constantly tell someone to clean. You know, I don't want to seem like I'm bossy. I'm just trying to be like reasonable, but it's hard sometimes for me to convey that. So I kind of felt like I was doing more cleaning than I should have if I just spoke up. Like another thing was I was the one who was throwing out the kitchen trash like every single time it was full, and I also felt like I was barely even using it. So that's kind of annoying. But besides that, like overall, I would like in conclusion, I would say I would roommate again. All right. And then I moved again recently in December to an apartment. This time no roommates, and yeah, I really like the apartment I moved in. It really has like a nice like kind of like it's roomy. It's got a good space. It's got good space. One thing that was really cool about this apartment is that it came furnished, right? Because I'm renting it from somebody who just can't be here right now. So, they're not gonna take their furniture with them. At least they didn't in this case. So I have a nice furnished 1-bedroom apartment, which is great. And now the space is mine. I have a lot more flexibility. After all these years, one thing I got to do was put up all the posters I've been collecting. So right now I'm just staring at all these posters I've been collecting over years from anime conventions and Comic-Con and just other movie posters. I get to put them all around the room and it's just nice to finally put them up. They've been rolled up in my poster tube for years. I got a couple frames for my signed posters, and I have to say that framing your posters is so nice. Like once I put the first frame on, I just stared at it. I was like, wow. It's like those movie posters you see in the theaters, like in the glass display. I definitely want to get more of these picture frames, but right now I'm kind of broke. Maybe more on that later. Another thing I finally got to do was set up my record player. I got a new record player, a proper one that would not destroy my records. And I got speakers, and I have a nice little record player display, and that's really nice. I finally got to have my records out. What else with my new apartment? I got myself an espresso machine recently. I love this thing. I mean, I haven't really played with it too much because I've been kind of waning off coffee recently, which is counterproductive because I just got the machine. But I enjoy it. It's a lot nicer than the Keurig. See, just like the posters, all my anime figurines and my anime DVDs and my manga books, I'm finally having them displayed on a bookshelf in the living room, so I can just stare at them and just And now I have space to buy more figures in the future, because I was hesitant to buy figures in the past because I just knew I wouldn't have anywhere to put them. So now that I do, I'm more excited to potentially buy figures in the future. Maybe I'll get some at Anime Con this year. I also want to start being more creative. I think I've been thinking about this more and more. But now that I have my own space, some of the anxiety is weighed off of my chest in terms of speaking too loud so my roommates wouldn't be able to hear me. Like I'm doing now. I have more flexibility to record these podcasts now. And I need to take advantage of that for sure, even if I'm not in the mood. Because now I can be loud. It's 2 a.m. As long as I don't scream, of course. I feel grateful for this opportunity. I want to record more videos. That can mean more anime videos and other stuff. Because my whole artistic thing, I want to talk about later, actually. So let me put a note on that. My artistic endeavors. I don't know how to spell endeavors. And also with videos, I did want to still try. I think I've talked about this before, streaming, but there's some complications with that. I'll talk about that now. Actually, it's just like, I don't know when to stream. Like honestly, I feel like the best time would be like right now, like at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., because that's when I feel the most comfy, I guess. Comfortable. I don't like saying comfy. That's why I kind of auto-corrected myself there. But in reality, I need to start sleeping at this time. So I don't know. Like maybe that's just an excuse. And then also, even though I will probably be streaming to nobody because who's gonna watch my stream, I feel nervous. And if I'm streaming, it's not like I'm really good at any video games. And then I'm not really a big personality, although I would like to develop into one. So I just feel like it's a waste of time. But I think these are just excuses because I didn't even try. And I just wouldn't know what to do while I'm on the stream. For the most part, I've been playing a lot of TFT, aka Team Fight Tactics, so League of Legends, Riot Games game. That's something I could probably do while doing like a just chatting Twitch. But even so, I get bored of that pretty quickly. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's just an excuse. I watched a bunch of shows since these 3 weeks have passed. The first show that I've watched, I finished Wednesday. Is I don't know if it's like a remake or like an off-brand perspective of like the Addams Family, about their daughter Wednesday. I've heard about the Addams Family like all my life. I have no idea what the story is with that. So Wednesday was kind of like my first introduction to that. I think it's a pretty good show. It's solid. It's like it's just like a school drama mystery like nothing like too deep, but I think it's just really nicely made. It's how is this? It's paced really well. I recommend it. I'm actually excited to watch season 2. Uh, I just think it's paced really well. I think that's the best way I can really explain it. Um, yeah, I'd say check out Wednesday. Also Tim Burton directed it, so that's also a plus. He makes good stuff. Uh, Big fan of his other movies like Nightmare Before Christmas and The Corpse Bride. Uh, Reboot is a sitcom featuring Keegan Michael Key from Key and Peele. This is one of 3 shows I watched that was recommended by someone that I follow on Instagram, and all 3 of the shows that he recommended, I wish I didn't watch any of them because they all kind of suck, to put it simply. So the sitcom Reboot, big skip. Don't watch this. It's just it's a story about it's a sitcom about them about these actors rebooting an old show with a little bit of a darker edge to it. But I don't find it funny at all. I will definitely not watch season 2 if there is one in the future. Then it's another show called This Fool. It's about these 2 brothers. One's just got out of jail, and the other one's always been like a pushover. And he runs a kind of like a therapy clinic for to rehabilitate people who just got out of jail. And he takes on his brother as his case manager, and it's kind of like a nice guy, brother bonding, but between like a nice dude and a mean dude. It's just an okay show. Out of the 3 shows, this is the one I would recommend the most if I had to, but I also didn't find it funny. So This Fool, okay show, very skippable as well. Then I watched the other show called The Other Two. The show is about this family of 2 sons and one daughter. The youngest son is like a little kid, and he gets really famous for like this stupid like teenager song. And then the other 2 is about the older brother and the older sister who like kind of amounts to nothing. And then it's like just little scenarios here and there. Again, this show is not funny to me either, so I'd also skip the show too. Then I watched Welcome to Chippendales. This was a dramatization of damn, I don't want to butcher names. Of it's a dramatization of the story of Soman Steve Banerjee. He was an Indian American who started the first stripper joint for females, like an all male stripper joint. I wanted to watch this show because it has one of my favorite actors playing the lead, Kumail Nanjiani. This was a good show. I highly recommend this one. Welcome to Chippendales. I also really like shows like dramatizations of real stories, kind of like Dr. Death, the one another show I recommended earlier. So Welcome to Chippendales is a show I recommend for sure. Then I kind of just marathon just the other day, That 90s Show, which is a spin-off of That 70s Show. This was fun. It was a fun show. The mom and dad, Red and Kitty, who are same mom and dad from That 70s Show. They kind of carry the show. They're great. They're great. But I really enjoyed it. It hit a lot of nostalgia points for me because it kind of features all the older characters. But yeah, if you really like That 70s Show, I would say go watch That 90s Show. It's a nice 10 minutes of nostalgia, and it's not terrible. It's just something I wouldn't recommend if you didn't watch That 70s Show, because I feel like the nostalgia factor really carries it, at least for me personally. So check out That 90s Show if you liked That 70s Show, because If you like that 70s show, you will enjoy that 90s show. If you didn't, I would just it's I think it's worth a skip. Although if you don't watch that 70s show, you should go back and watch that 70s show because that one was great. This show the last show I want to talk about is called Servant. It's directed by M. Night Shyamalan. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I don't care. This show is really it's really interesting. I think people should check this out. The show Servant. I'm gonna introduce it with minor spoilers. This is all episode 1, episode 2 stuff. It's currently on its 4th season that's currently airing, and I've just caught up, so now I have to wait weekly. So that kind of sucks, but at the same time, I'm glad I'm caught it at the end before it finished, so I can watch it live, basically. So basically, it features really 4 main characters. One of them is played by Rupert Grint, who it was Ron Weasley in Harry Potter. Just a little fun fact. Here's the story. A mom and dad they lose their kid. I won't say how, but their newborn baby dies, and they're traumatized from that. So they their therapist recommends that a way for the mom to maybe ease back into normalness is to get what they call a reborn doll, which is kind of a lifelike doll of the baby, just to kind of cope temporarily and maybe before transitioning to a life without the baby. So you get this reborn doll, and they treat it like a real baby. They hold it, they pretend everything's normal, and then it gets to the point where they hire a babysitter, right? And the mom's the one who's really traumatized the most, and the dad he's not as traumatized, but he doesn't want to he's trying to be careful around his wife. He doesn't want to he doesn't know how fragile she is, right? He's being concerned about that. So they hire a babysitter, and Leanne, and she has supernatural powers, and basically the second episode or first episode, Sean, the dad, he walks into the baby's crib where the doll is supposed to be, and it's a real baby there, and that's kind of where the whole story starts. It begins with questioning whose baby is this, and then from there it gets all sorts of mysteries and supernatural stuff. This show is 4 seasons long, 10 episodes each, and most of it's contained in the house, and it's just as exciting. Or exciting is not the word I want to use. Interesting. The babysitter Leanne, she frustrates me to no end. I kind of hope that it ends with her having a I don't know, if she gets punished or whatever. I don't know. I don't want her to have a happy ending, basically. So yeah, Servant's a really fun show. So I think the 2 shows I mentioned you definitely should watch is Servant and Welcome to Chippendales, and Wednesday. Let's see here. We are at 25 minutes. I guess I'll do one little quick rant just to end things off. I'm not crazy about all these new shows being made in seasons of 10 episodes. I just think that once a couple of shows, bigger names, started doing it, then all the shows started doing it. I don't know, it just seems a bit lazy to do 10 episodes. Because every show's doing 10 episodes, there's no way every show was made to be 10 episodes. So that being said, it's kind of they would if every show started doing 8 episodes, then every show would start copying them like if the bigger shows were doing 8 episodes, then all the shows would be doing 8 episodes. Just like any reason to make less episodes, follow the mainstream, they would do it, because that saves them money. But I feel like, especially like good shows should not have to follow the normality of like being 10 episodes. They could be 12 or 22, 24, whatever it needs to be. Even 8 episodes if it needs to be. Like it doesn't have to reach the 10. Sometimes less episodes is better. But I just feel like because every season comes with 10 episodes now, it just feels a bit forced. Because I know in my gut that the only reason there are 10 episodes is for the sake of being lazy and saving money, business wise. Otherwise, there's no reason why every single new show these days is 10 episodes. Same thing with anime. Anime these days, they're all like 10 to 12 episodes. Seasons used to be like 24 episodes. Or maybe now they make them 24 episodes, but they split them up into 12 episodes over the year, which I don't really see. But I understand that another advantage of this is that if the show doesn't do well, they don't have to waste their time doing 24 episodes. Where if the show does well and they only make 10 or 12 episodes, then they're like, okay, we know people like this stuff, so we can do more episodes without fear of loss in monetary or whatever. And that was my mini rant. I think the way things are going kind of hurts creativity in a way. But I'm still gonna watch shows because I got no other choice, right? After watching Servant or being caught up to Servant, I think I've run out of shows that I've had on my list, like non-anime shows. So now I would like to try my best to jump back into anime. That's the goal. Yeah, I want to try to get back into anime. Anyways, I did a lot of ums this episode. I'm aware, and it's fine. It's 3 a.m. I'm tired. I'm gonna let it go. Thank you for listening to the Broke But Not Broken podcast. Thank you for reaching at this point, the end of episode Z, the end of season 1. I'm glad if anyone found entertainment from listening to me speak. And no song. The plan is season 2 will air February 12th. Episode 1 of season 2 will air February 12th. That's my plan. And I will talk about all the logistics about what I want different in season 2 than season 1. Yeah. Thank you again for listening, and have a good day.